Alright, so I've been thinking about making a video like this for a few months. The reason is, every time I review a Razer product, just this year I've been thinking, man, another great Razer product, another great Razer product. Now, this isn't a sponsored video in the sense I'm not being paid to produce this. This was my idea. I went to Razer and I said, just send me a list, a definitive list of everything that you guys released this year. So just this year's products. Not necessarily products that I reviewed this year, like the Hyperspeed Basilisk, but the actual products that were released this year. So they sent me the list. I have a handful of these devices so I can show you what they look like, but otherwise we're going to go through some images. So here's a definitive list of everything that Razer released in 2020 and kind of a year in review. So not going to review every single product. Of course, that would be like a 5-hour video, but I'm just going to tell you my thoughts and opinions on the products I've actually tested and used, and just some ideas about the things I didn't get a chance to review personally. So let's start with systems. Now, Razer's known very well for their laptops, but they actually released some desktop chassis this year, the Tomahawk Gaming series. So there's a Mini ITX and an ITX case, ATX rather. So it looks like a Razer case. I don't know who the actual manufacturer is, but they're effectively rebranded with a little bit of tweaks to be more Razer-like. And they look really cool, but I didn't get my hands on these. They also released the Tomahawk Gaming computer. This is a pre-configured system that looks a lot like their core external GPUs, which I have reviewed a whole bunch of times, so be sure to check those out. Anyhow, I think that you'll find those really interesting if you have the budget for them. They're not cheap by any means whatsoever, but yeah, Razer Tomahawk looks awesome. Okay, now the Razer Book 13 is the one product this year that I have so many regrets. I wish I'd gotten my hands on this. So this is a 16:10 aspect ratio productivity laptop. This looks a lot like the Razer Blade Stealth, but it's actually about 10% smaller. It's a little bit lighter, it's thinner by the 10% margin, and overall it's designed more for productivity and business use than it is for gaming. So if you think of the Razer Blade Stealth, that has a GPU in it, a discrete GPU. This does not. It has the Intel Xe graphics, which are fine, but this display is not even greater than 60 Hertz. So it's not designed for gaming, it's designed for productivity, and it looks awesome. It really is just starting to come out. People are getting their hands on it, and reviews are coming out. So if you're interested, you probably won't see a review from me unless I fork over the money to get one. They do start at $1,200, but that's for the 8GB of RAM model with an i5. I would suggest you go up to the i7 with 16 gigs of RAM, in which case it's $1,600. And yeah, maybe if we had like 10,000 subs, I would do it, but we don't. So it's a pipe dream for me right now. Okay, the Blade Stealth was updated in late 2020 with the 11th gen Intel i7 processor. It looks great. It is a bit of an expensive device, but it does have a discrete GPU. It's the GTX 1650 Ti. I haven't gotten my hands on this myself, but I've used a Blade Stealth a number of times. I actually have owned a 2017 model and an 18 model. I thought they were really good, but ultimately the keyboards were killing me. And on the later one, the earlier one, it was the reflectivity of the display. All that is corrected now. So if you're interested in Blade Stealth, another good year for Razer on that. Now, the flagship, the Blade 15, the device that everybody knows Razer for, that was also updated this year with an 11th gen model. And I haven't gotten my hands on this. I know you're hearing that a lot, but trust me, I've got a bunch of products here I'm going to show you hands on. But I do have a 2018 Blade 15 that's still rocking. I mean, it's definitely showing its age, but it's the laptop most people recommend, particularly if you have the budget. The cool thing about the Blade 15 is not only is it the laptop that I think a lot of manufacturers are striving to mimic, but it's also on sale often. And that's really cool to see in Razer products because they generally launch at a higher price point, although other manufacturers are starting to launch at those price points as well. The Blade 15 had a Studio Edition, also productivity aimed. I don't know a whole lot about this device other than what I've already said, so we'll go ahead and move on. There's also the Blade 17 Pro. I did get a chance to review last year's model, and I mean, it is just a beast. It weighs something like 4.5, 5 pounds. Actually, it's got to be more than 5 pounds. Anyway, and yeah, it's a glorious device, but it's very expensive. It's 17 inches, more room for airflow, better cooling, big old GPUs, but I think that it's really designed for the hardcore who can spend $3,000 on a laptop. Okay, mice. Now, this is my chance to show you some stuff. So, Razer released a bunch of V2 and V3s of their products this year. The V2 DeathAdder, it's an update to the age-old DeathAdder that's been amazing year after year for, I don't know, like a decade or something. They also released a mini version that I have right here. So finally, some product to show you. Now, I did a full review on this mouse, and I really like it a lot. Now, I don't have small hands. I have, I guess you'd call them average-sized hands. But I did find this fine to use, but I wish it were a little bit bigger, and that's what the regular DeathAdder is for. So if you're somebody who wants a portable DeathAdder, this is a good way to go. You'll notice some rubber on here. These were included with the device, little stickers, so I pasted them on to give them a try. I haven't removed them because I think it's actually pretty comfortable to use with these grips, and it helps with those long sessions of gaming when your hands can get sweaty. All right, so moving on to one of my favorite products this year, the DeathAdder V2 Pro. Oh man, okay. I actually just recently got my hands on this, something like a month ago. And I started doing my videos and my reviews, and so you'll see those on my channel. But this is, again, an update to the age-old DeathAdder, but this time it is wireless. And the battery life is not horrible. And it doesn't come with those rubberized grips, but it does have that kind of printed onto it. So I found it to be very comfortable. I don't do long gaming sessions. Just to be honest, I have kids. I don't really have time. But I did some, solid gaming sessions with it. And yeah, never really slipped. The wheel is awesome. You get DPI sensor or buttons on the top. It also supports the charging cradle that Razer ships with its Ultimate line. So the Ultimate Viper, the Ultimate Basilisk. Or you can buy it separately. It's like $30, but it's compatible with all of those. So I happen to have a Viper Ultimate line around, tested it out, works perfectly. This also can communicate over Bluetooth. So if you're not comfortable with going wired because you want the space, you don't want the dongles, you know the deal, then you could go Bluetooth. So, and I ran it Bluetooth when I did my review, and it was actually really good. But I don't do competitive gaming, so if there's some kind of like, I don't know, superhuman lag I'm supposed to have noticed, I didn't. Okay, so moving on to the Basilisk V2, which is right here. This is a wired FPS-centric gaming mouse with a thumb rest. So I'm a big fan of thumb rests. I think thumb rests are they're awesome. So if you're looking for a gaming mouse and you want a little place to rest your thumb, it's also really helpful for doing work. So I'll show you my day-to-day mouse in a moment, but that mouse also has a thumb rest. I can't work without a thumb rest. It's just the way that I am. But this is a good mouse, and I love the way it feels. Of course, it's a lot like there's a competitor out there that has a similar design, but I don't see the big deal. I mean, it works great, and it looks good, so there you go. It does have resistance as well, so you can change the scroll wheel's resistance, which is awesome. I'm a big fan of a solid scroll wheel, plus this comes with Razer's awesome braided cables. Okay, the Viper Mini. I don't have this one, but you can imagine it is a mini version of the Viper. The Viper is also an FPS-centric mouse, although it doesn't have the thumb rest because it's ambidextrous in design. I nailed it, ambidextrous in design. Okay, so there's also a Mercury white version of the Viper Ultimate. Viper Ultimate is the wireless mouse. I don't have that one, but we're going to take a look at a Mercury white mouse here in a moment. There was also a CyberPunk edition of the Viper Ultimate that was released. This looks super cool. I haven't really played much of CyberPunk yet, just created my character and finished the first objective. But yeah, I'm playing Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's awesome. Let me finish that first, then I'll get to CyberPunk. Okay, now some Naga. So the left-handed Naga was released. This is great for MMOs because of all the macro assignable buttons on the side. And then there's also a Naga Pro, which looks to have a thumb rest. This is left-handed in its orientation, so keep that in mind if you're a righty. Finally, oh man, my favorite mouse of the year, the Razer Pro Click. This is a productivity-centric mouse. I use it day to day. I freaking love it. It has a USB-C port for charging. Most of the mice I've shown you thus far have been micro USB, but all the version 3 products from Razer this year, they all use USB-C. So I think USB is coming. It's going to be ubiquitous in 2021. That's just my opinion. I don't know for sure. But this mouse was designed in collaboration with a company called HumanScale. The entire focus is on productivity ergonomics. So this is a competitor, something like the Logitech MX Master 3. I don't know why I just said Logitech and I felt like I couldn't say Logitech earlier when I was talking about the Basilisk. But anyway, so this is a sweet mouse. I love it. It's got the nice grippy sides in case you do get sweaty. It has the thumb rest, which is important to me. It has all the buttons I need, the 2 left ones, and then the buttons on the side, the 2 primaries, and then the scroll wheel is clickable. And it does connect only over Bluetooth or 2.4 gigahertz or wired. I said only. I don't know what the 4th option would be. Okay, I should try Bluetooth. Oh no, you know what? I did try it Bluetooth. When it first came out, I had it in Bluetooth. I put this in my review. I had a lot of trouble with connectivity. So I switched it to the 2.4 hertz and it works great. So unless they've done a firmware release, I can't recommend Bluetooth. Okay, keyboards. I have keyboards to show you. So first of all, the Ornata V2. We just gave away my Ornata V2 to a member of our community, so I don't have it with me anymore. But this was my favorite keyboard from Razer for this year. I'm a big fan of the Ornata with the mecha membrane keyboard design, but I don't have it, so I can't show it to you. Also, that wrist rest is magnetic, so it just clips right in. This is a great keyboard if you just want to fly and type quickly. For me, it took very little effort to actuate the keys. The travel was not as deep as some other keyboards, some that I'll show you today, and I was able to fly on this keyboard, which of course can have its problems, because if you're too fast, of course, errors increase as you go faster. So yeah, you got to be really accurate. It's a great keyboard. There's also the Cynosa V2. I did not get my hands on this. This looks like a nice minimalistic design. Of course, you get the chroma RGB lighting. This is a big year for keyboards with Razer, so let's just fly through them. Another one I didn't get to use is the Huntsman Elite. I also didn't get to use the Huntsman Mini. But, oh, that's not true. I have it right here. Okay, for a second there I thought this had a different name. So, the Huntsman Mini. I've just started testing this. And my first reaction is, okay, it's tiny, of course, but also it's kind of without a wrist rest, and I do a lot of work on my PC, and most of my time is spent working, not gaming, so I can't quite get my wrists at the right level unless I force them. But it is a really beautiful keyboard. If you get a better look at it here, here's how it sounds like. Right? It's not loud. Here's another keyboard I'll show you in a moment. Yeah. Okay, so this, if you're looking for something quieter, and then of course if you're more professional, so you don't want to have a professional gamer or a competitive gamer, meaning you don't want to have all the extra keys like the arrow keys, the home keys, the number pad. All you need is the core keys to do your work or to do your gaming. This is a good way to go. Razer does have some other competitive gaming keyboards out there, but I like the look of this. I like the idea that it's small. I wish it were white, but it only comes in black. But it's super cool. I like it. It's nice and lightweight. It connects wired only, so there's no wireless on this, which would have really nailed it for me if it were wireless, because then you'd have even less. Like if you're going for minimalism, then you'd have one less thing, right? The wire, the cable. But anyway, this is super cool. So Razer also released another ergonomic device. This is the ProType keyboard. I don't have this one yet. It's on my wish list, and I'll try to pick it up. The thing about this one, though, just at first glance, I like the white. I think just the way the chroma shines through the keys on their white or Mercury white devices, even going back to the Razer Blade Stealth, which was one of the first laptops to get Mercury white. I love the way that Razer's RGB works and looks against white backgrounds. But for me, it's not about the color. It's not about the keys that are available. It's the shape. So if you're going for an ergonomic approach, productivity approach, and ergonomics are important to you on the mouse, they should be important to you on the keyboard. But for whatever reason, Razer did not opt for an ergonomic keyboard layout. They went for a flat design. We'll see if this continues. If they find some, further productivity momentum with their productivity line, then I could see them going with a more ergonomic approach, in which case I think they're going to start to crush it with their productivity peripherals. For now, it's just a white keyboard, I think. But I haven't got my hands on it. I can't be too critical. But as somebody with tons of tendonitis in my wrists, I need something that is curved if I'm going to use it for a long period of time, not just for a review. Okay, the keyboard that was making all the clicky sounds is not right here. No, this isn't it. Okay, so this is the BlackWidow version 3. Okay, I have something else to show you in a moment. I haven't got my hands on this. I know I keep saying that, but it's just, how do I keep up with all this stuff? How do you keep up with all this stuff? It's impossible. And this is sort of my point. I mean, this year that Razer's had, I'm like 10 minutes in this video, and we're not even we're more than halfway, actually. Yeah, we're getting through the slides, but there's a lot of products. I didn't get my hands on this, etc., 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 but hey, it's a Razer keyboard. It looks awesome. It's a version 3. I can give you some insights, but not yet. You'll see why. Okay, there was also a 10 keyless model of the BlackWidow version 3. This one is wired only, but here it is, the BlackWidow V3. Okay, so this is what I've been trying to talk about without getting to it quite yet. So this is the third version of the BlackWidow, and this is the Pro model. This is wireless compatible. The battery lasts about 2.5 days for me with the chroma backlighting on and at maximum. which I thought was the best way to test it because, you know, I like the chroma. And yeah, this connects over Bluetooth as well as 2.4 hertz. And you can connect it over USB-C. Remember earlier, I mentioned that Razer's products are all USB-C and the V3 line, so that's good to see, V3 Pros. And yeah, I love the way this works. I love the way it looks. Here's a sense of what the backlighting looks like. I love the way the keys light up and the transparency that you have, the visibility that you have. It's a really comfortable keyboard for typing. Now, it is a bit on the loud side, but that's what you can expect with a mechanical keyboard. Here's a test. All right, 20 bucks if you can figure out what I typed. Okay, it also has this super cool spinny media key here, so you can adjust your volume. It's also clickable, so you can mute immediately if you want to. There are media keys here. The media keys light up around them, but not the keys themselves. So I shouldn't say it that way. So not the icons. So you know what these are over time. Playing, pause, previous track, next track, but you can't see them like you can see the word num here on the number key. So they didn't light that up for whatever reason, but it doesn't take too much time to figure out what they are and memorize them. I just wish that those were lit up. I think just for consistency, it would look really good. So I'm a huge fan of the BlackWidow V3. It's one of my favorite keyboards for the year, but because of the ergonomics, I can't use it too much, kind of sparingly. But yeah, I got plenty of desk space, so I can make that work. Okay, now audio. So Razer also released a bunch of audio products. So starting with the BlackShark V2. This is a wired, gaming-oriented, but not exclusively gaming, headset. It's extremely comfortable. So if you're familiar with Razer's Kraken line from several years ago, I've reviewed a few of those here on the channel. Those are, they're big, they're a little heavier. To me, they're not as comfortable as this. Those use leather. This uses some kind of like cloth. It's really, and there's some type of memory foam underneath the cloth. It's very comfortable to wear for long periods of time. And it's very minimalistic. Like you just have a couple of buttons. You have your dial here for the volume. The microphone is detachable, so if you don't want the microphone, you don't have to. More on that in a moment. And yeah, it does also have this, this adapter, which, if I can remember correctly, I think what this does, what does this do? Oh, this is simple. Okay, all this is an adapter to go from, you know, your standard headphone jack to USB. Okay, for some reason I thought this was a controller with volume controls, but it's not. So anyway, that's an awesome headset, but you can tell I haven't used it too much after the review. There's also the BlackShark V2 X. This one I didn't get my hands on, so I don't know too much about what makes it different from the regular V2. If you happen to know, drop it in the comments. Okay, there's two headsets this year from Razer that I definitely want to talk about the most. So this is one of them. Now, I mentioned a second ago about this little microphone, right? So I don't use the microphone because I have an external microphone, the Yeti, from the company called Blue. So I have this is the BlackShark V2 Pro, and I use it completely just independently. It's wireless. There's the slot for the microphone if you want to use it. It does come in the box, but I don't use it. And it's just a nice, lightweight, comfortable headset. Very minimal. You have your volume dial. You can mute with the press of a button, and then there's your power button, which the other one doesn't have because that one's not wireless. And you put these on, and they're just, you get some active, or rather passive noise canceling because of the ear cups. There is also active noise canceling if you want to turn that on. They sound great with 7.1 surround, and these are, I mean, I don't know the price offhand, maybe $130 or $160 there, so they could be a bit expensive, I suppose, but I love the way these feel. These are on my desk every day, all day. I love using these for conference calls, for work, and for gaming they sound great too. Plus you can use an external microphone. It's no big deal. It also has this fallback thing, so if you can set it up in the Razer Chroma software to fall back to another audio device if you turn those off, and they'll turn off after 15 minutes or whatever period you choose, I think between 15 and an hour if there's no audio coming through. So they have really good power management, and I've only had to charge them once in like 2 weeks, so those are awesome. I'm a big fan of those. Okay, there was also the Kaira, which is an Xbox-oriented gaming headset. It looks really similar to the BlackShark. It's kind of different hinges on the ear cups, but I haven't gotten my hands on this. Same with the Pro, but I imagine this would be the wireless version, and if anything you've noticed today is there's a Pro for just about everything. one headset that doesn't have a Pro, the other one I'm really excited to talk to you guys about, is this. This is the Razer Opus. This is a competitor to something like the Bose QC700. These are THX certified. Of course, Razer owns THX. THX certified noise canceling headphones. So this, you can totally use them with your PC if you wanted to because they connect over Bluetooth, but it's really for mobile phones. So if you want to connect this to your phone and then, go for a jog, maybe be a little bit careful where you're running because of the, noise canceling, you will get hit by a car or something. But yeah, I use these mostly for conference calls if I'm on my phone versus something like Zoom and I'm not connected via my PC. I also use them when I'm running on my treadmill. They do get a little sweaty, so you got to kind of monitor what you're doing there. But yeah, if I were traveling on a plane, this would be the headset that I use. For a long time, I used the Bose QC25s, which are wired, and they had good noise canceling, not great. These are worlds apart. I mean, that's an older headset. This is brand new, released this year, of course, and I really, really like them. They're comfortable, etc. I haven't done my full review yet because I just got these last week, but I will be doing my full review soon. Big fan of what Razer's doing with all of their non-gaming peripherals as well as their gaming peripherals. Okay, a few more things. We're getting there. There's so much that came out this year. Razer HammerHead True Wireless Pro. So these look a lot like AirPods, but I haven't got my hands on them. In fact, we've almost exhausted the list of everything I've got my hands on. So we'll get through this without too much more demo. But the HammerHead True Wireless Pro, another headset, or rather earpods. What do you call them? Anyway, they go in your ear and use them with your phone. Earbuds, that's the word I was looking for. So this would be a competitor to the AirPods or competitor to like the Samsung Galaxy Buds Live. They go in your ears, etc. Great for sound, but that's what they do. Okay, God, I should edit that whole thing out. Okay, this is exhausting. Okay, there's so much that came out this year. The last audio device is a microphone, the Razer Seiren Mini. These look adorable. They come in a variety of different colors, definitely oriented towards streamers, but hey, if it were me, I'd get that Mercury one. Okay, gaming controllers. So I've been using the Razer Wolverine Tournament Edition, which is the V1, the first one that came out, I think 2018-ish. Really great controller. It doesn't come in wireless, so it's wired only, which is my only gripe, but it's an excellent controller. This is the version 2, so it looks quite a bit different. They've made some changes, particularly to the nubs and to the button selection and the orientation. It looks a lot less like an Xbox controller, but you can use it with your Xbox, your PC. So if you're looking for a great gaming controller, I can recommend this since I've used the previous version, which I still use today. It's very good. Okay, so the last live demo I have for you is the Razer Kishi. So the Kishi comes in an iOS, Android, and Xbox trim. This is the Android one, so it's really easy to use. You pop this back cover, and then it stretches out. So connecting through USB-C for Android, you can stretch it to a big phone. Even my Note 20, which I rolled for a couple of weeks, that worked just fine with this. But just, be careful. It doesn't fit every phone. It doesn't fit my Galaxy Fold. So anyway, and then you connect it in, and now you've got a full-on controller. It's really easy to use. You see how quickly I can undo it and put it back together. Very simple. The buttons feel great. This is an awesome accessory if you have something like Google Stadia on your phone. So, or you can use a Stadia controller, or you can spare the $60 and just put your money towards this, because this also works natively with a lot of Android games. So that's an awesome controller, and that does it for controllers. Now on to MouseMats. I mean, really, Razer didn't miss very much this year. So first of all, there's the Gigantus V2. So it's a giant mouse pad. There's also the Acari, which is another mouse pad, and then finally the Pro Glide. So this was $10. And my daughter did spill something on it, so there's a bit of a stain. But otherwise, this is held up really well, so just ignore this area and look at the rest. I've had this now maybe 3 months, and it's one of the better mouse pads that I've used. I mean, it is starting to have, it's kind of rubbing off a little bit, but it's still intact, which is important. And the back is a really nice, grippy sort of rubber. I'm not sure what the material is precisely, but this has been working well for me, and I've gone through a lot of mouse pads in my life, probably 50. I mean, if I had to guess, probably 50 mouse pads. And this one has been really good. It's holding up very well. It's only $10. It's probably the least expensive Razer product ever, and yeah, I like it. Okay, now there were other things that came out this year, including gaming chairs. So for the first time ever, Razer released a gaming chair. I'm just going to call it the Iskor. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but the reviews are starting to come out for this, and I'm hearing good things, so that's awesome. And there's also the THS case, which fits the iPhone 11, and there's also a case for the AirPod Pros. So there you go. There's the Arctech Pro, which is another case for the iPhone 11. I think this is for other devices too. You can get an Arctech for maybe a Samsung phone or two. I'm not positive, but yeah, Razer seems to be backing away from making their own phones, and now they have this. So that's the year in review for Razer. What an amazing 2020 it's been for Razer. I just blown away by everything they've released, and that was exhausting. How long have we been recording? 26 minutes. It's the longest video I've ever made. Okay, that's not true. But anyway, yeah, so thanks for watching this. Hopefully you found it helpful. Hat tip to Razer. What an amazing year that they've had. Big celebration, popping balloons, popping wine. What a year. Go put your feet up, Razer team, and we're looking forward to a delightful 2021. Thanks a lot.